Yeah, I've been researching this for about a year now.
I think the buzz is that the old-fashioned laptop thing is a pad.
Well,
There's one by the wayside.
theoretically. Not there for the phone, right?
All meetings order. For those who care to, please rise for an opening prayer and salute to the flag. Would you lead us in a word of prayer tonight, sir?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for today, the government here, and for folks in this room. Lord, we ask that you guide us as we go through this meeting. Lord, in your name we pray. Amen.
Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Much now, we'll figure out if I made a mistake.
Wow.
And I'll write okay.
I'd like to make a couple of announcements on appointments tonight. We'd like to appoint David Brock as a voting member of the Ozark Transportation Organization Technical Planning Committee. I'd like to have a motion to appoint Mr. Brock to that position. Did I get a motion first?
Second.
I got a motion and a second? Is that before or after I finish reading?
Right as you missed.
Just checking. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Carries. Thank you. I'd also like to nominate Garrett Tyson as an alternative voting member to Ozark Transportation Organizational Technical Planning Committee.
Motion.
Second.
A motion in 2 seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you very much. On to one other item I'd like to bring up before we get to some other items. One of our long-term P&Z members, John David Denny, passed away on Friday. He was still an active member as part of our P&Z board. His obituary has been in the paper, and certainly our thoughts and prayers go out to Mr. Denny and his family, especially Mr. Denny's family. He was a vital member of this particular board of P&Z and really helped shape some of the things that we have done in the past and helped shape some of our policies and procedures as we're moving forward for the future. And we appreciate Mr. Denny's service over the last few years. So please get a chance to read that. It will be at 2 p.m. Wednesday, January 29th at Metter here in downtown. So, next item, we do have some birthdays this month. We do have Alice Gibson, who works in City Clerk's office. Her birthday is January 31st. All right, happy birthday, Mr. Jason Mendez. Mr. As I put Mr. inside. Happy birthday, Mr. Mendez. Your birthday is February 4th. You've earned the right to be harassed by your fellow people, so thank you, sir. Miss Poole, on the other hand, happy birthday, Miss Poole. Her birthday is upcoming, and she has earned the right not to be harassed by you. Her birthday is January 28th, which is tomorrow. So happy birthday, Miss Poole. Also like to do a proclamation for Ronald McDonald House of the Ozarks. Whereas Springfield's 2 Ronald McDonald Houses have provided a home away from home and an invaluable source of hope and comfort for families of seriously ill and injured children who must travel far from home for medical treatment. Whereas the 2 Ronald McDonald Houses located in Springfield, Missouri allow their guests to maintain close contact with their seriously ill children by providing a secure and supportive environment at the barest minimum cost or at no cost at all that guests cannot afford it. Whereas the Ronald McDonald House near Cox South and the new House of Mercy Children's Hospital have served the needs of 512 Greene and Christian County families, 22 of which are Republic residents. Whereas on Friday, January 24, 2014, 63 McDonald's restaurants and various other locations will be displaying red, pink, and gold paper hearts, which have been signed and adopted by citizens donating $1, $5, and $20 to Ronald McDonald House of the Charities of the Ozarks through the Share a Heart campaign. And whereas the following generous contributors have provided sponsorship, funding, and underwritten cost of the Share a Heart campaign will be McDonald's of the Ozarks, Youngblood Auto Group, Great Southern Bank, Mid-Am Metal Forming, McCann Printing, KY3 Television, KTTS Radio, and Cox Health. Whereas McDonald's of the Republic is a participant in the Share a Heart campaign, which will continue through February 28, 2014. Therefore, I, Brian C. Buckner, Mayor of the City of Republic, Missouri, do hereby proclaim February 10th through February 16th as 2014 Ronald McDonald House Week, and testimony whereof I have set my hand and fixed the seal of the City Republic this 27th day of January AD 2014. That is a great organization they have there at Ronald McDonald House. We certainly appreciate what they do. They help out quite a few kids over in that area and families, and it's a wonderful thing. If you ever get a chance to go over there, take a little tour, and it's amazing what they do for families that are staying in this place. Mr. Brennan, she'll pass those on. Also, I think that's about it. Mr. Krischke has, and I can take care of this now, Mr. Krischke has an administrator update. We're gonna go over a few things, is that right? No, apparently not. Oh, well, we're good, we're good, all right. All right, fantastic. Put you on the spot, it's okay. No, I'm good. I'd like to open it up now to citizen participation. Anyone wishing to speak to anything not on the agenda, please step forward, state your name, sign in, give us your best 3 minutes. Seeing none, citizen participation closed. Before we move on to the consent agenda, we'd like to make one more announcement. I'm allowed to do that, correct? Thank you. 2014 election candidates. Kathy Harrelson will be from Ward 1, Gary Wilson from Ward 2, Jason Mendez, Larry C. Milton, and Steve Fowler are all in Ward 3. Charlie Bashir and Troy Kaufman are in Ward 4, and myself running for mayor. So I'll let everybody know that. Please, you are running. Please see your election pack to ensure that you follow all the laws around the city about signage and things like that. So make sure you please review that. If you have questions, please contact Brenda and or Mr. Derrickson. On to the next item on the agenda, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. On to the financial report. Board Guy Rice, welcome. Give us an overview, ma'am.
Good evening, I'm just fine, thank you. Hopefully everyone else is too. Really, the only thing I have to point out to you is I passed out this, what you got tonight, in that I had caught you up to date last meeting on the sales taxes that we had received today. So the motor fuel tax is the only thing that we have received since the last meeting, within the last 2 weeks, which does finish out the 2013 year. And as you will see, it was up slightly over what we received in the past. But unfortunately, for the year to date, we are down slightly from last year, 0.34%. That's bad news. The good news is we were over budget that we had projected 2013 by $4,000. So it's a mixture, good, bad. So anyway, that's the motor fuel tax. Just a reminder that these monies benefit both the general fund and also the streets and stormwater.
Questions, comments, discussion for Laura? Anything at all? I'd like to have a motion to approve financial report.
Motion?
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Mr. Krischke, apparently we don't have anything. Mr. Derrickson, do you have anything? Apparently not. All right. Mr. Keeling?
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Well, thank you. Noises coming in this section over here.
These things again. You're pretty heavy.
Future community events, January 28th through February 27th, we offer APEP. That's Arthritis Foundation Exercise Program. It's at 1:30 p.m. That's on Tuesdays and Thursdays at the community center. January 29th through February 12th, the senior week open. We have several time slots available. Just call for details. January 27th through February 14th is registration for youth spring soccer. season begins the week of March the 11th, and all games are played at detailed as you would see. January 30th is Senior Movie Day at 3 p.m. That movie is Walk the Line. That features free popcorn and free coffee. Break up some cash there. January 30th, Teddy Bear's Slumber Party. February 3rd, 10th, and 24th, the Toddler Open Gym. Those are Mondays at 10 a.m. That's for anyone age up to age 5. February 6th through March the 13th is Toddler Tumbling. Thursdays 5:30 or 6:30. That's for age 2 to 5. February 7th, a week from Friday, is our Father-Daughter Valentine's Day. It's from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. held at River Public Community Center. February 10th through February 28th is registration for spring adult volleyball, and all those games are played at River Public Community Center. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Board Commissions and Committee Schedule, Board of Adjustments, February 6th. Capital Improvements, February 26th. City Council, February 10th and February 24th. And Planning and Zoning Commission, February 18th. On to old business and tabled items. Bill number 13-37 was tabled until this particular meeting. I'd like to have a motion to take off Bill number 13-37 from the table.
Motion.
Second. Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carried. All right. Need a motion to have the second reading of Bill number 13-37.
Motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Abstentions? Motion carries.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, authorizing and directing the city administrator of the City of Republic, Missouri to enter into an agreement for automatic and mutual aid with the Springfield Fire Department for fire services.
Need a motion to have final approval of Bill number 13-37.
Motion.
Motion and second. Welcome, Chief Compton. Please give us an overview, sir.
Back about November 2009, we had entered into a auto aid agreement with the city of Springfield for fire protection services. And at that particular time, CAD system that dispatches our calls was not as advanced as what it is nowadays. And we had a map that we thought we would never grow outside those boundaries, and that is the wrong thing to do. So, with the advancement in technologies that we have nowadays, we can actually go into a specific address and add departments to that address for if it's a high hazard type occupancy, like the pipeline company or something like that. This agreement updates that agreement from 2009. It's worded very closely to the same, except it takes out that map that we were bound by and replaces it with us going into the
Questions, comments, discussion for Chief Compton? Anything at all? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Councilmember Harrelson? Aye. Councilmember Poole?
Aye.
Councilmember Mendez?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Councilmember Brashear?
Aye.
Councilmember Hutchison?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilson?
Aye.
Councilmember Clinkenbeard?
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0. Thank you, Chief Compton. Motion, Bill number 13-38 was also tabled until the January 27th meeting, which is today. I'd like to have a motion to remove Bill number 13-38 from the table.
Motion.
Motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? The motion carries. Need a motion to have the second reading of Bill number 13-38. Have a motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, authorizing and directing the city administrator of the City of Republic, Missouri to enter into an agreement for automatic and mutual aid with the Battlefield Fire Protection District for fire services.
Need a motion for final passage of Bill 13-38.
Motion. Second.
Have a motion second. Chief Compton, give us the overview, sir.
This agreement mirrors the previous bill that was just passed. The Fire Protection District their boundaries really never changed, so that map was still good for them. However, we've annexed a lot of land in the former village of Brookline area as well as the city. And so that, again, that map that was attached is, kind of outdated. So what was the reason for updating this agreement? This was originally passed in June of 2010.
Questions, comments, discussion for Chief Counsel? Anything at all? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Councilmember Sweetengary.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilson.
Aye.
Councilmember Hutchison.
Aye.
Councilmember Brashear.
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Councilmember Mendez.
Aye.
Councilmember Full.
Aye.
Councilmember Harrelson.
Motion carries 8-0. Thank you, Chief Counsel. Resolution number 13-R-58 has been tabled to February 10th, just to let you know that was under old business. On the next item, need a motion to have the second reading of bill number 14-01.
Motion. Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, amending Chapter 110, Administration Policies of the Republic City Code by adding Article 7, Collective Bargaining Policy.
A motion to have final passage of bill number 14-01.
Motion.
Motion
Second.
and a second. Mr. Derrickson or Mr. Christie, which one would you like to go? All right,
If
Mr.
you'd really
Christie.
like to, Ron.
Go right ahead.
All right, and Angela apologizes, she had a previous engagement tonight, so she wasn't able to be here, but, and she presented this last week, if you remember, and quite a bit of the discussion went towards the merits of having the advancement of sick leave policy.
Oh, one.
Collective bargaining.
Oh, no, sure.
That's why I was gonna let you have that.
I guess I'm just a page off.
Here's the problem, he's gonna let you explain the next one, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
Derrickson, please give us an
So you got a
overview, sir.
prelude to the next one.
Well, based upon a court ruling a few years ago, collective bargaining is now an issue with all municipalities. And MML and the Municipal Attorneys Association have advised that it's probably wise to go ahead and get a policy adopted as to how you'll handle those collective bargaining issues as they come up. We reviewed two policies that were adopted up around Lake of the Ozark, looked at Springfield's and also looked at Greene counties. And pretty much what you have here doesn't exactly mirror, but it is based to a large extent off of what Greene County adopted. And it was originally about a 16-page order that the county commission adopted. We reduced that down to what we felt like were the essential items to be in an ordinance, to come up with an ordinance that's before you, but then authorize the city administrator to adopt procedures and policies to help implement this. And basically what we did is Jim and I went back and took the rest of that order that the county commission had adopted and placed it into a policy with the obvious changes that need to be made to complement this ordinance if council chooses to pass it.
Thank you, sir. Questions, comments, discussion for Mr. Derrickson?
Just to add, even though I'm off one on the agenda, just to add to that policy, it was my intent, and I did not get that into the packet, but as Ron mentioned, it mirrors what the county and other municipalities have passed and what is the proper policies and procedures to follow in this particular event. It is spelled out, we have it ready to go, and we will include it in next week's package, or next council meeting's packet of information.
Questions, comments, discussion for Mr. Christie or Mr. Derrickson? Anyone? Anything at all? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Councilmember Harrelson. Councilmember Full,
Aye.
Councilmember Mendez,
Aye.
Councilmember Harder,
Aye.
Councilmember Brashears,
Aye.
Councilmember Hutchison, Councilmember Wilson,
Aye.
Councilmember Clinkenbeard,
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0. Thank you. On to the next item. I'd like to have a motion to have the second reading of bill number 14-02.
Second?
Motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, amending Section 11, Fringe Benefits Management, subsection 11.23, Advancement of Sick Leave of the City Personnel Policy.
I'd like to have a motion to have second, final passage of bill number 14-02.
Motion. Second?
Motion and second. Mr. Krischke, would you like to give the overview on this item again?
Maybe I can start right off there, but anyway, this was discussed at the last council meeting. Again, Angela wanted to be here, but she had a previous engagement, so I told her I'd be happy to present it for tonight. But the amendment, or the policy itself had a lot of discussion at the last council meeting about the merits of it. And we of course discussed that in some of our staff meetings after the last meeting. And we have a number of policy changes within the personnel manual that we would like to bring forward to City Council for consideration. We are going to make an attempt to either rewrite this, and council can either go with a rewrite of this particular policy, or just, eliminate it if that's their choosing. Some of the things that were of concern are 2 years of accrual of sick leave to be advanced, when you can only possibly have worked 1 year here with the city. So there's some things in here that may be not exactly what would be in the best interest of the city and the employees. So we've already done a review through Brenda of all of the other city clerks to find out what other policies are existing out there, and we're going to make an attempt to come back with other policy amendments for the personnel manual at a later council meeting. But in the meantime, the policy is already in place. It's something that we have to work with, and until it gets reviewed again by City Council, the amendment is to add clarifying language about how all other accrued leave would have to be exhausted before any advancement of sick leave would be considered. And it was the intent that would be how it would be followed, but it was not actually spelled out in the personnel policy, so the correction is to add that language in there.
Questions, comments, discussion for Mr. Krischke? Don't all talk at once. Can't hear you. Anything at all? This one gathered a lot of discussion last time, so I'm sure you guys have plenty. Mr. Harder?
In the highlighted section, upon return to active duty, the employee shall repay the advance of the sick leave is subsequently earned. Again, that's, in what form is that paid back?
Through their sick,
The
through their accruement of their sick leave.
Okay, or vacation, do they use vacation for that?
It would be, they would have to choose that,
Okay.
but their vacation would accrue and that would be available for them for use.
Okay.
But the sick leave would be what would go back to repaying that debt.
Okay.
Additional questions, comments, discussion?
We're glad to see you revisit.
Yeah, and I didn't want to say too much because I haven't read through all of the policies that Brenda was able to come up with, but clearly, there are some out there. Ours is very liberal compared with some of the others, and I think there are others that are either better worded or just, a fair policy. And I really do believe it needs to be worded. It does have some benefit. Employees, if they do need it, it's a great thing to have in place, but I think we really need to revisit this. And we'll have it back to you pretty shortly.
Okay.
However, what's in front of you is this particular document with the highlighted areas added, so, that is in front of you as we speak, so. Additional questions, comments, discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Councilmember Clingenberg.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilson.
Aye.
Councilmember Hutchison.
Aye.
Councilmember Bashir.
Aye.
Councilmember Harder.
Aye.
Councilmember Mendez.
Aye.
Councilmember Poole.
Aye.
Councilmember Harrelson.
Motion carries. Thank you. Yes, carried 8-0, thank you. Sorry. That's okay, jump on in. Sorry. Resolution number 14-R-01 was tabled to the January 27th meeting today. I'd like to have a motion to remove from the table.
Motion?
Have a motion and a second to remove from the table. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? That motion carries. Resolution number 14-R-01, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, authorizing the execution of an easement to Empire District Electric Company. I'd like to have a motion.
Motion.
Second?
Motion second. Welcome, Mr. Gibbons. Thank you. Here's the overview, sir.
This is the first of two easements tonight, at the request of Empire District Electric Company. Really, that's as a request of our work for them, to accommodate the AMP in the Republic Veterans Memorial. This particular one, we really like the idea of eliminating overhead utilities at the site of the new amphitheater and the Veterans Memorial. What this does, and the work has already been completed on the new service line, but it'll eliminate the old power lines adjacent to the east side of the old parking lot by the old pool. The new service is underground on the west side of the old pool parking lot. The easement is to, for future maintenance, held in part of Empire for the line.
Questions, comments, discussion for Mr. Gill?
This particular easement is the one just to the west of the line. The other one we'll deal with later.
Want to pass me again, sir?
There's two easements on tonight's agenda. The tabled easement, the one we're talking about now, is just to the west of the parking lot right there.
Okay.
Underground utilities in place of the overhead that was on the east side of the lot.
Right. Will we be vacating the easement?
That's correct.
Okay. Is that a separate item, or is that will be a part
It'll
of
be
this?
down the road. There's still that power poles there. They gotta get in and maintain it. Once that work is completed, we'll vacate.
All right, thank you. Then we can have a resolution item for that one, too. Correct. All right. Thank you. Questions, comments, discussion for Mr. Keeler?
Does this have to happen before they can start work on the ground in the area?
Empire, no, it doesn't have to happen. This is just a cleanup, but they've already installed this underground utility on the east side. But the easement allows them to maintain it in the future.
Questions, comments, discussion, Mr. Keeler? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
On to new business, I'd like to have a motion, have a first reading of bill number 14-03.
Motion?
Second?
Got a motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, authorizing and directing the city administrator and the City of Republic, Missouri to enter into an agreement with the City of Springfield for the acquisition of pictometry, providing a more accurate geographical information system.
Welcome, Dale Noggle. Please give us an overview, ma'am.
I'd be happy to. This is in reference to an agreement between the City of Springfield and the City of Republic. This is an agreement to reinstate our pictometry, which takes place every 2 to 3 years. We've been doing this now with the City of Springfield in a partnership since I believe 2009. And pictometry, as you all may recall, is really the aerial photography that takes place. And without the assistance and sharing of resources, this would be something that would be too expensive really for the City of Republic to do on its own. Our share is right at $7,000. I believe you've got your breakdown in your packet. And it shows $7,041.08 to be exact. That has been approved and adopted in our 2014 budget. And this time of year, we come to the council for approval. They have to do the flyover during a time when the leaves are off, so usually late February, early March is when that takes place.
Questions, comments, discussion from Ms. Nyro? Anything at all? Seeing none, this is a first read. If you have questions between now and the next meeting, please contact Gail at the Planning Development Department or contact Jim. They do have some history on this particular project. Thank you, Gail. On the next item under new business, motion to have the first reading of bill number 14-04.
Motion.
Second. Have a motion, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Try that again. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, authorizing and directing the city administrator of the City of Republic, Missouri to enter into an agreement for automatic and mutual aid with the Willard Fire Protection District for fire services.
Welcome, Chief Compton. Again, please give us an overview, sir.
Well, this agreement pretty much mirrors the other two, but there's a little bit more to it, so let me tell you the rest of the story. We had signed an agreement back in 2010 with Willard for a mutual aid contract. At that particular time, they were a volunteer fire department. About this time last year, they went to a full-time department. The station they're currently staffing is at the intersection of AB Highway and Double E at the Meadows subdivision. And to put that in perspective, from their station to our fire station 2 is approximately, well, it is right at 5 miles, 4.9 miles. Having a mutual, or having an auto aid agreement with them, has some benefits on both ends, or both parties. They're needing some help in the southern end of their district, up into that AB, Double E area from their south. They're needing some assistance from us for water support on structure fires. And then it has an advantage for us, we're getting ready to go through an ISO inspection, and there's extra points in those ISO inspections if you have auto aid agreements already signed. So it'll help us out, and again, it'll help us out for water support, in areas where we need, tankers. We've, worked with Willard. Like I said, we've had a mutual aid agreement with them. They've called us a couple of times. They had one of their schools on fire back right around Christmas, and they called us to help them out with that. And then I returned a favor when it was 8 below on Linwood Street over here, so, I actually come out of my head. That's really all I have. Like I said, the agreement mirrors the other auto aid agreements that we have passed in the past in Springfield and Battlefield.
Chief Compton, all we're doing is adding a auto aid as opposed to mutual aid. We're just tacking that on. to
That's
this.
correct.
Okay, just want to make sure clarification. Questions, comments, discussion for Chief Compton? Anything at all? This is a first read. If you have questions between now and then, please contact Chief Compton regarding that. On to other business. Resolution number 14-R-03, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, possibly awarding the bid for the construction of a restroom structure as part of the new outdoor amphitheater and Republic Veterans Memorial Project. I'd like to have a motion.
Motion.
Second. So a motion second. Mr. Keeley, give us an overview, sir.
I do have 3 more handouts. I do apologize for the handouts, but we were a little bit late putting this stuff together, so. With me tonight is Eric McCune and Michael Hampton from Staff Design Associates. We're here to answer any technical questions you may have as well.
No, sir. That's gonna be, I wasn't trying to rush you at all, Keeley. Never do that.
As most of you remember, I believe it was on December 9th, we came for you, with the bids, for construction of the Amp and Republic Veterans Memorial. At that time, we authorized, Nesbitt Construction, for the base bid and alternate number 4, which is additional seating for the amphitheater in the amount of $429,000. Alternate number 1 of that project was, the restroom structure, new restroom structure. The price for that was $123,550. At that time, staff was directed to go back to the staff and possibly Nesbitt as well to see what we could do about that pricing. We have worked with them, at length, in regards to the restrooms. The end result may not look like a lot in terms of cash, but I do want to go over it with you, and then ultimately get some sort of a decision tonight as far as what we want to do going forward. First of all, we have 4 options. The 4 options are listed on the exhibit and in the resolution, but option number 1 would be to just accept alternate number 1 as is in the amount of $123,550. Option number 2 was Nesbitt's attempt to value engineer the restroom structure. The end result was $108,837, $108,837. All the deducts are listed there, but I do want to kind of go over them for the audience as well, and also give you the opportunity to ask questions. The first deduct was $922 to eliminate automatic flushing sensors with the restrooms. Second deduct was $910 for use of the existing lines for water and sewer. That is something we're going to do regardless, so we will have that deduct no matter what. Next deduct was $453. That was sub for metal toilet partitions in lieu of plastic toilet partitions. The next deduct was $498, sub paper towel dispensers in lieu of hand dryers. The next one was $1,386, sub individual restroom exhaust in lieu of a central exhaust system. The next one was $2,626 to sub wood columns and posts in lieu of structural and miscellaneous steel. The next one was $1,253 to eliminate 16 of our louvers that go around the structure. We would give us a total of 24 instead of 40. And the last one, and the largest deduct, was $6,665. That was to sub split face block in lieu of the colored double ground face block. Those total deducts were the amount to $14,713, or a value engineering price for Nesbitt of $108,837. $108,837. The other option we looked at was getting our crews involved. We have very skilled crews as far as electrical and plumbing. We felt like as long as we could get the building roughed in, shelled in, we could take over from there. That amount, option number 3, although it doesn't sound like much different from option number 2, was $106,772, but I do want to go over with to explain. The deducts we would still take would be the use of the water and sewer line, the eliminating of the louvers and the block. The contractor had a deduct of $16,000 for the interior fixtures and the installation of those, and in turn we can get the same things and install them ourselves for an $8,000 ad. That total deduct from the price is $16,828 or $106,772. Of the 3 options available here, we would definitely prefer number 3. One of the reasons is it doesn't affect the integrity of the building too much. We'll still be able to keep the steel, we'll be able to keep the high quality interior fixtures, and that's with our guys doing the majority of the work. So we feel these available options, option number 3 would definitely be the best to go with. Or option number 4 you have this evening is just to take none of these, and then would give us a little bit more time to look at some other alternatives, whether that be a modular unit, going back for a redesign, or something along those lines. I do want to stress that these gentlemen tonight here are here for any technical questions as well. As far as available funding for the project, I did hand out a sheet too, with where we're standing at right now. We have approximately $34,000 in our 2014 budget, and in the account up there we've raised as part of the Veterans Memorial that could go towards the additional expense of the restrooms. That would leave an approximate $72,000 left that we would need to pull out of our existing cash. Now obviously we do our best as we go through the year to minimize that. Gonna bring some good news of some mowers here in a couple of weeks that we're able to save $6,000 or $8,000 from our budgeted figures. So that would leave us in a position of trying to do everything we can the rest of the year, not to try to compromise our cash position. But we definitely would recommend number 3, but I'll open it up to any questions at this time. So.
Questions, comments, discussion from Mr. Keeling? Mr. Wickenbeer?
So the number 3 allows us, you mentioned, to keep the, steel, the auto flushers, things like the higher end.
That's correct.
Because I like the idea of us doing, the work to do savings versus going cheap on equipment, because that's gonna end up, if it works like we want it to, it'll get a lot of use. And buying cheaper stuff actually costs you more in the long run, I mean, because it wears out and you're constantly replacing it. So doing it right the first time is always the right way to do it.
And I can't say, you echo the same thing from our maintenance guys. I mean, they would rather put the quality high-end stuff in this at the start, the steel in place of the wood.
And it's not that it's gold plating high-end, we're talking high-end because it's quality that can't get beat up as easy, correct?
Correct. And now, the split face block versus the round face block, I may have to refer to the architect there. You guys want to speak to that in general?
Sure. Eric, I always want you to come up so you can speak.
Well,
I'll maintain the integrity of the look, but we're not, that's not gonna be.
the structural integrity of it is always going to be there. What we were doing with the ground face block is, again, thinking about maintenance and, long-term, for the project. With the split face block, the color is integral, has 2 polished faces on both the inside and outside. So the color, you wouldn't have to go through and paint that or seal it in the future. Split face block is certainly a durable material. You will have to go through sometimes in the future and go through and paint that. We're just trying to avoid, a long-term maintenance versus an initial cost. And if it is, if you go through many other communities, there are split face block buildings around for restroom facilities. It's not unusual to have that at all. So it's really just a first-time cost versus an ongoing cost.
And how long
And
typically
I've
does it
seen
go before
Jared-
painting or whatever?
We have at our community center, it's been ever since '02. Now, we've done obviously pressure washing and, I'll get the word wrong, but what is it called? Effervescence or? See, I told you I would get it wrong. We've had.
He's good for pronounce that. What was it, Eric?
Efflorescence.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So it's not as big of an issue as like going with a plastic divider
I've seen
versus
Jared-
steel that will degrade very quickly.
I've seen Jared in the bottom of a pool painting before, so I know he's.
Well, I like the number 3, appreciate you answering the question.
Eric, before you go,
Yes,
how many, units or stalls are gonna be on each side?
it is 2, is it
It's-
3, it's 3 fixtures on each side with a sink, or is it 2?
It's 2 in the women's, and then a, lavatory and a urinal in the, or water closet and a urinal in the men's.
Okay, very British water closet. Thank you. Questions, comments, discussion before you go, Eric? For Mr. Keeling, or Eric, or Michael in the back, either one? Mr. Hutchinson, go ahead.
secured, does it have a door and lock, or what's the story on that?
It does.
Absolutely. Now, the ones we have down there now are secured in a different measure with padlock and a clasp, but these will be secured.
These are all secured with commercial grade hardware, so abuse resistant.
So will they be only open then whenever there's something going on at the amp, or will it be open?
Now, this is for a general park use as well. Now, we will fight the same things we fight now, as far as, but when they're winterized, they will be able to lock them down far more better than we can do now, so.
Mr. Wilson?
Say again the number of facilities.
Facilities,
In the women's, there's 2 toilets and a sink, and in the men's, there's a toilet, a urinal, and a sink.
Now, that's not a lot, I mean, it's just not. Now, daily use will be just fine. When we have our larger events out there, we're probably gonna have to do 1 or 2 things. So we still do have the old thing down there now that we could open up, or we could bring in additional portable units. But if you start expanding out into as big as a crowds are, hopeful to accommodate, you could be building a Taj Mahal out there.
Have we built it, that brings up a good thing, have we built it where you could expand out from each side, where you could add more without a drastic expense, so you could grow basically?
If we were to, yes, you could always expand it, but,
Is
I
it
think.
designed where, without ripping out everything that's in there now, or you just add, like you would if you built a building and you had 50,000 square feet and you knew you were gonna need 70 down the road, you build it to the one end of the building, you knock out the wall and keep on going, and you don't have to redesign the first part, you can add on to it. That would be how I'd look at the restroom too, is where you could add on a stall or two by just extending the building out.
We have not planned for the expansion like that, but one of the theories that I think we had in doing that is trying to diversify the locations of it so that we don't necessarily have to send everyone to one spot within the park. That if we needed to, we've designed the amphitheater with an area adjacent to it, that if we wanted to add a concession stand, and restrooms, we could do that in the future. Pretty much where the pool house is now. But that it really wasn't the intention.
So is it to add a second building versus to expand this one?
Correct.
Really, the one down towards where we're talking about now, obviously, to take the place of the unit we have, but absolutely 100% is gonna service the amp. But Eric stated, you know, if we'll see how it goes, becomes wildly popular, you know, other funds available, we could put an additional unit up there, because we're gonna need a permanent concession stand up there, one of these
Sure.
dimensions.
I mean, if we start drawing 500 people, the concession stand is no big deal at that point.
Right.
Did you say you were gonna leave the existing facility, or are you gonna take that out?
We're gonna leave it as storage, and we can have the discussions as far as we can leave the restroom, but we are 100% gonna leave it as of right now. We may do some little cosmetic things to spruce it up a little bit, but we are gonna leave it.
That was my next question too, is what can we do cost-wise to our current facilities, in addition to this, you're gonna need the additional. What we do to our current facilities, because I know they're old, they, you accommodate one or two people here, and you now move them from staying in line. You know?
Right, is that absolutely right. I mean, I don't know how many of you have been in there or not, we have some challenges in there, we have to go rip out some floor and do some of the plumbing things, put in partitions or whatever. And I could definitely work with these guys to see what kind of things we can do on a minimal cost expense to get those up to a little bit better order, so.
Plus, if our guys are as good as we said they are, right here.
Right.
Alternate number 3 or option number 3.
We could do a lot of that, right.
Exactly. Okay. Additional questions, comments, discussion for Eric, Michael, or Jared? Go ahead, Mr. Hutchinson.
I wasn't here
Sure.
that when this first was talked about last year, but boy, that seemed like a lot of money for a couple of floors. Yeah, I mean, maybe I just am not, I'm not in the business, but
Wow, the house for
Ron?
$100,000.
Well, I think,
I'm gonna, let me put a good point of clarification Mr. Hutchinson makes. That's why we went back, and that's why they're re-looking at this.
yeah, I mean,
Eric and Michael are shaking their head, and Jared, because when they first brought the numbers to us, we kind of went, could build a big house for that. But at the same time, with the industrial grade, some of the fixtures, some of the things that go in there, it is the cost and everything, but I'm gonna let these guys answer that, but that's a good point.
And I think if you weren't here, you would have heard my line, is that you will be amazed at how much it will cost. And unfortunately, once you have to go into the public bidding realm with the insurances of the prevailing wages, it does cost more money. And we joke that you can't build a doghouse for $100,000. And I said that you would be shocked, and
We were.
so these numbers don't surprise
no,
you?
City of Mitchell went through the same
Okay.
conversation 10 years ago.
But they did surprise me, yes.
Okay. Did you originally recommend the 123 or what?
No, we did not.
Okay.
I had a little sticker shock with this like as you did, and so we decided to go back and see what we could do to get that down a little bit. Now, I believe I said at the last meeting, we might be able to get it down less than these numbers, but kinda is what it is at this point.
I think logically what you're doing is you're trading out some of the materials and the labor, which is the heavier, the more costly part, and allowing your staff to install that.
What is there, have you explored options of the, and I don't know the right terminology, but I've been to other cities where they have a portable, large portable.
We've looked at those.
Did you guys discuss that?
We have modular units.
Like you go through it again.
No, we actually just brought it up. We haven't 100% nailed down the pricing. I can tell you that it's not much different, and you could sacrifice a little look and integrity. But they do 100% have these things, they bring on cranes and just sit them down right in there on your thing or whatever. But for the price difference, I didn't see a lot of value in that. So.
Additional questions, comments, discussion, all of it.
Now, Brookline Park, we are still looking at that modular unit, just because we don't have sanitary sewer out there right now.
I mean, they're not the most
Yeah.
attractive thing.
They're not, but for Brookline Park, they might work great where we don't have sewer out there.
It doesn't have to worry about being cookie cutter out there either.
Right.
Moving Babbitts and it look more like the rest of the place with this.
do you see any challenges with using existing lines with water and sewer?
According to David, which actually David was the person who brought that to our attention, yeah, he thought it would be a really good idea, so I have to defer, but, Nesbit and David have both said it could be done, so.
Mr. Ordinance, for a motion? Not quite sure everybody's finished. Go ahead, Mr. Jackson.
The resolution before you has four options. There needs to be a motion to accept and vote on one of those options when you get to that point.
Yes. So I'm at this point, looking for further discussion, comments, or questions.
We really, I mean, do we have, I mean, I guess you gotta put one in, right? So, I mean, you gotta do something.
I'm thinking,
One of the things is that it is going to be providing handicap accessibility restrooms for.
that's the big thing we're finding in Marvin right now, is we don't have a way to accommodate, and especially building the facility such as this, you know, a way to accommodate accessibility factor is huge for us. This will solve two things, it'll do it for the amps, but it'll also do for general park goers. Because our existing bathrooms, do not meet a handicap accessibility at all, so.
Good question.
Make a motion for number 3.
I have a motion for number 3.
I'll second that motion.
A motion and a second for number 3. Vote on that. All in favor of accepting bid number 3, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, we're still in the vote though, no?
Now you need to vote on the whole
Correct, the
resolution.
whole resolution. Additional further discussion.
We'll still have the option to talk about the other bathroom, right? Like as far as if.
Oh, the existing bathroom?
Yeah, if there's any updates that can be done.
Absolutely. We can do our homework on that. I don't ultimately know if that'll be a council agenda. It'll probably have to be, if it's over a certain amount, over certain trade skills or whatever, if we do end up doing it outside at all, or make purchases over $5,000 or whatever, but I can definitely keep you updated in a part of Jim's report or however that might be.
That'd be fine. I guess what council's probably directing is,
Sure.
take a look at that, see what we can do our homework, see what we can find out, make sure we can, upgrade our existing facility somehow, some way to add those
I think it
additional.
would just help in the bigger event.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, make a bridge the gap until we get the concession with additional.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, we could at least get 2 or 3 more in, in each swim and inside down there, I would think. I have no idea what kind of cost there is, but if we could get 2 or 3 more down there, that might help out a lot.
And you might find out that the cost doesn't make sense or something like that, but at least understanding that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Additional questions, comments, discussion? Except that we're looking at bid number, or option number 3. There's no additional questions, comments, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries 8-0. Thank you. On the next item on the agenda, resolution number 14-R-04, resolution of the City Council of the City of Republic of Missouri, authorizing the execution of an easement to Empire District Electric Company. Like a motion?
Motion.
A motion second. Mr. Keel, give us an overview, sir.
As stated earlier, this is the second easement tonight, dealing with, the AMP and Oak Republic Veterans Memorial. Empire Electric is gonna bring in new power service underground for us to power this facility, just to the east of the Park Road, as you come off of Hines Street.
Okay. Mr. Derrickson?
We need to do some amendment on this.
Correct.
Let me, I think there's a copy error, wasn't it, where we used something similar to the first one?
I really don't know what kind of error it is, but what got sent over didn't appear on the agenda, so.
Oh, okay. Well, in my looking at it, there are 2 places that the resolution needs to be amended, the second whereas and actually section 1, is that correct?
Let me pull that real quick, the second whereas, absolutely, section 1.
It is different than the one in the book.
Okay, yep.
Page 2. If council chooses to make the amendment as requested, the second whereas would be amended to read as follows. Whereas the city requested that Empire District Electric Company install a new electrical service line
relocate on electrical service line as part of the construction of the Republic Veterans Memorial and the AMP, and that's the whereas. And then the actual section 1 has some changes, but rather than try to piecemeal it, I will just read the whole thing. Section 1, that Mayor Brian C. Buckner is hereby authorized to execute on behalf of the City of Republic, Missouri, an easement granted to the Empire District Electric Company across property located just to the east of Park Road, coming off Pine Street within J.R. Martin Park. Said easement to be substantial in the form and content as that document attached hereto and incorporated herein.
I'll make the motion as Ron Jefferson has just read in.
Which one? You need a motion on each?
No, just.
Okay. Have a motion on both. Have a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. That cleans up the verbiage of that particular. Additional comments, questions, and discussion from Mr. Keeling?
I just want to say thanks for taking a look at this, and it was created.
I was hoping we would bring it back a little bit greater, but it is what it is. Thank you.
Anything else? So you know, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you.
very much. Mr. Derrickson, Mr. Christian, anything for example? No? Okay, I'd like to have a motion to adjourn. Motion. Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody want to stay?
Blacklist is on.
There is cake.
Blacklist is on.
I know. Very much. Meeting adjourned.